Friends, we will make a beginning with the new topic, export, warehousing and small scale industrial units. Really interesting topic. Of course, after completing the general procedures, I can say these are specific procedures. See, exports. So regarding the exports, we will also be studying in the topic of customs also. See, we don't want to tax what? Export. We want to encourage the export, or other way around, we have a customs duty. So in that case, if you levy the excise duty also, then too much of the tax will happen. But then the issues here we have is, how do you ascertain when the goods are removed from the factory, cleared from the factory, whether they are cleared for the purpose of making the sale in the domestic tariff area or they are being exported. In that respect, you need to follow certain procedures. Then we have the other issues here like warehousing and what are the benefits under the excise law to the small scale industrial units. Now to start with, export under claim for rebates to a place other than Nepal or Bhutan. So first phase you are going to study goods being exported to the countries other than Nepal and Bhutan. Here two aspects involved. One is not at all collecting the excise duty because it's an export, or you collect the excise duty, later on give a rebate subjected to the satisfaction of conditions. So friends, first, what do you mean by deemed export with reference to the central excise law? As such, friends, there is no specific definition which is given for the deemed exports. There is nothing like deemed export under central excise law. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry well recognize this concepts through EXIM policy, export and import policy. In terms thereof and in common parlance, following supplies normally shall be deemed to be exports. That is, supplies by a domestic tariff area, units in domestic tariff area to 100% export oriented undertakings, or units in the free trade zone or special economic zone, electronic hardware technological park, software technological park. These kind of transfers from domestic tariff area to those units shall be deemed to be an export. Then supplies made against international competitive bidding shall also be deemed to be an export. Then supplies by a DTA unit to the specific projects by the World Bank and to the projects for which supplies are made under international tenders. Then supplies of intermediate goods by their manufacturers to ultimate exporters under the cover of advance license or advance release order. So you are manufacturing an intermediate goods and you are going to give to the person who is the ultimate exporter, then what you are making a sale also shall be deemed to be for export. So all the aforesaid categories of supplies qualify for 100% exemption from duties. So here it is not a case of rebate concept, it's a 100% exemption from duty. Then friends, write a short notes on rebate of duty on goods exported out of India under central excise? What are the conditions and limitations subjected to which rebate is granted on finished goods? Friends, in this context we should look at Rule 18. Rule 18 of the central excise rules, where any goods are exported, the central government may by notification can grant a rebate of what? Duty paid on such excisable goods, duty paid on materials used in manufacturing or processing of such goods. So the rebate shall be subjected to such conditions or limitations, if any, the fulfillment of such procedure as may be specified in the notification. So you are going to get a rebate in respect of the duty on finished goods as well as duty that you paid on inputs used for manufacture of the final products. So explanation here says, export includes goods shipped as a provision or stores for use on board a ship proceeding to foreign port or supplied to a foreign going aircraft. Even that also is included in the definition of the export. Then friends, conditions and limitations subjected to which rebate is granted. What are the conditions generally? Rebate of the whole duty paid on all excisable goods falling under the first schedule to the Central Excise Tariff Act 1985 exported to any country other than Nepal and Bhutan is granted subjected to the satisfaction of the following conditions. What are those conditions? First is the excisable goods shall be exported after payment of the duty. Rebate concept comes, friends, only when you make the payment of the duty. The question of you are getting a rebate do arise. So first and foremost important thing is the excisable goods shall be exported after payment of the duty directly from a factory or the warehouse, except as otherwise permitted by the Central Board of Excise and Customs by a special or general order. And then the excisable goods shall be exported within how many months? 6 months from the date on which they were cleared for export from the factory or manufacturer, factory of manufacturer or warehouse, or within such extended period as Commissioner of Excise may allow. After being cleared from the factory, they must be really exported, and within what period? Within 6 months or such extended period as may be permitted by the Commissioner of Excise. Then excisable goods supplied as ship stores for consumption on the board a vessel bound to any foreign port should be in such quantities as Commissioner of Customs at the port of the shipment considers reasonable. Too many things you can't. That is, for the ship to reach the destination, how many days it will take and what is the consumption requirement. To that extent, in case if you are going to put the goods items for consumption on the board, then such also we considered it as an export. And what should be the quantities and all, that who has to consider them as reasonable? To the extent the Commissioner of Customs at the port of shipment considers reasonable, to that extent the excisable goods supplied as a ship's stores for consumption on the board of a vessel bound for any foreign port should be treated as an export. And the rebate claim by filing electronic declaration shall be allowed from such place of export and such date as the board may specify in this behalf. So electronically also you can file your claim for this particular rebate, and the market price of the excisable goods at the time of exportation is not less than the amount of the rebate of duty claimed. So this is also another important thing. So your market value should not fall below the amount of rebate of the duty that you are making the claim. Then amount of the rebate of the duty admissible is not less than 500. So don't put claims for the rebate for meager amounts less than 500 rupees. Rebate of duty on those excisable goods, the export of which is prohibited under any law for the time being in force, shall not be made. So subjected to satisfaction of these 7 conditions, you can claim the rebates. Then one more important thing, 8th one, no rebate if area based exemption is availed in case of the export of the goods which are manufactured by the manufacturer availing the area based notifications, no rebate shall be admissible as a point, friends. Then an important note here is units claiming area based exemption notification are refunded the duty paid by them on the final products under Rule 12 of the Senvat Trade Rules 2004. Thus they are not allowed rebate under this rule, because refund of duty paid would mean that no duty has been paid by them as a point. See, what is the logic behind not allowing the rebate in case of the entities which are enjoying the area based exemption is, once is a case of area based exemption, they are getting the Senvat credit under what? That is Rule 12 is a point. Once credit is coming, what will happen? That is, you have taken a credit means as if you have not paid any duty for it as a point. So units claiming area based exemption notification are refunded the duty paid by them on the final products under Rule 12. It's not the question of Senvat credit on inputs, it's a question of what is it, refund. There itself they got the refund, then on that again the rebate will not be allowed. So that means ultimately, in order to make a claim for the rebate, necessarily what should happen, friends? Necessarily duty should have been paid, then only you can get the what is it, rebate. In case if on the final product no tax is paid, excise duty is paid, or that a duty which they paid already got refunded, the question of rebate does not arise. Then the excisable goods shall be exported in accordance with the procedures specified in the notification as a point. Then friends, SEZ liable to additional duty of excise, special economic zones liable to the additional duty of excise, special additional duty of excise on motor spirit and high speed diesel, and national calamity contingency duty NCCD. This is also a recent circular, friends, so please make a note of it. While section 3 of Central Excise Act 1944 does not provide for levy of excise duty on a special economic zone, however section 3 is applicable only in respect of the basic excise duty. The additional excise duty are levied under the respective enactments. So the SEZ Act 2005 lists 21 statutes wherein no excise duty can be levied on special economic zone. However, the levy of additional duty of excise and special additional duty of excise on motor spirit and high speed diesel and national calamity contingency duty has not been barred. Therefore, the said duties are leviable on the goods which are manufactured by the SEZs. So the total discussion should make you to get into the understanding, in case of the goods produced manufactured by the special economic zones, there in the special economic zone, still the levy of the duty of additional duty of excise, special additional duty of excise on motor spirit and high speed diesel and national calamity contingent duty will be levied. And if that is the case, if those goods are exported on payment of the said duties under the claim for rebate under Rule 18, or exported under bond without payment of the said duties under Rule 19. So once that particular duties are paid, then they can claim for the rebate under Rule 18, or they may clear them without paying the duties by giving a bond as a point. Friends, explain the procedure for export of the goods on payment of the duty under claim for rebate. So here also we are going to study a particular procedure. So what kind of the procedure? First, the exporter has got two optional procedures regarding the manner in which he may clear the export consignment from the factory or the warehouse. What are the two options which he has got? One is sealing of the goods and examination at the place of the dispatch. This will be done by the excise authorities. Then dispatch of the goods by self-sealing and self-certification. First is sealing of goods and examination at the place of dispatch. Second is dispatch of the goods by the self-sealing and self-certification. Now sealing of the goods and examination at the place of dispatch, what is the procedure to be followed? The exporter is required to present the goods along with 4 copies of application in form ARE1 to whom? To the superintendent of or inspector of the central excise having jurisdiction over the factory of the production or the manufacture or the warehouse or the approved premises. Then the goods shall be assessed to the duty in the same manner as if they are the goods for the home consumption. Then the duty payable shall be determined on the basis of ARE1 and invoice and the thing which got recorded in the daily stock account, and it should be paid in the manner specified in Rule 8 of the Central Excise Rules. Then the exporter may request the jurisdictional superintendent / inspector of Central Excise for examination and sealing it at a place of dispatch 24 hours in advance. Minimum 24 hours. अब एक्सपोर्ट हो रहा बोले तो टेलीफोन करके उनको बुलाए तो उन्होंने आए तो नहीं रोना. At least 24 hours before, if you tell then they will come, or such shorter period as may be mutually agreed upon, and shall inform about the intended time of the removal so that arrangements can be made for the necessary examination and sealing. Then the superintendent / inspector of Central Excise will verify the identity of the goods mentioned in the application and particulars of the duty paid or payable. If he finds declaration of ARE1 and the invoices are correct from the point of view of the identity of the goods and the assessment to the duty, and that exporter has recorded the duty payable in the daily stock account, then he shall seal each package or container, ensuring that goods cannot be tampered with after their examination. Thereafter the said officer shall endorse and sign each copy of the application of that ARE1 in token of having such a examination done. Then distribution of the documents of ARE1. So this ARE1 will be distributed to whom? First thing is, in case when export takes place from the factory or the warehouse, the distribution of the ARE1 shall be as follows. First, original and duplicate copy shall be returned to the exporter immediately after endorsement and signature by the superintendent or the inspector of the Central Excise. Triplicate copy shall be sent to the officer with whom rebate claim is to be filed either by the post or by handing over to the exporter in a tamper-proof sealed cover after posting the particulars in official records. So 2 copies तो exporter के पास रहता, और then one more copy in a sealed form it will be given to the exporter so that he will hand it over, or we can also make the posting to the officer with whom the rebate claim is to be filed, or sent to the excise rebate audit section at the place of export in case rebate is to be claimed by electronic declaration on electronic data interchange system of customs. Then the 4th copy. So as far as the 3rd copy is concerned, you have to remember that it must be sent to the officer with whom the rebate claim is to be filed, or it may be sent to the excise rebate audit section in the place of the export in case rebate is to be claimed by the electronic declaration. Then 4th copy, quadruplicate copy, shall be returned to the exporter immediately after endorsement and signature by the superintendent / inspector of Central Excise. This copy is prepared to claim the export incentives. Other than this rebate, there could be some more export incentives. In order to claim that will be again given to the exporter is the point. And then friends, however, where the goods are not exported directly from the factory or the manufacturer, factory of the manufacturer or the warehouse, then how this ARE1 will be distributed? That is, the distribution of ARE1 will be same as above. except that the triplicate copy of the application shall be sent to the superintendent having jurisdiction or fact the manufacturer or the warehouse, who shall after verification forward the triplicate copy in the manner specified above. So here what may be the situation, that is, I may be sending the goods for a job work to the job worker's place, then this triplicate copy will be sent to the the superintendent or the inspector having a jurisdiction over the factory of that manufacturer or the warehouse from where the goods are going. After the verification, forward the duplicate copy in the manner specified above. So only difference between the goods which are removed from the manufacturer's factory or the warehouse and goods removed from other than those two places only differs in respect of the triplicate copy. In case of from the factory or the warehouse of the manufacturer, then that particular jurisdictional superintendent or the inspector is going to endorse on it, whereas in case if it is that the goods are being moved from a place other than the place of the factory of the manufacturer or the warehouse of the manufacturer, then that particular factory or the warehouse from where the goods are moving, who is having a jurisdictional power, that particular inspector or the commissioner will make the endorsement and all. Then the second option we have is dispatch of the goods by self-sealing and self-certification. So self-sealing and self-certification is a scheme where exporter is a manufacturer, owner of a warehouse may remove the goods for export from his factory or warehouse without examination by the central excise officer. So this procedure will also be permitted in cases where merchant exporter procures the goods directly from the factory / warehouse. In both the cases, manufacturer of the export goods or the owner of the warehouse shall take the responsibility of sealing and certification. So for this purpose, the owner / working partner or the managing director or the company secretary of the manufacturing unit of the goods or the owner of the warehouse or a duly authorized person shall certify on all the 4 copies of the application of AR-E1 that the goods have been sealed in his presence. So distribution of the documents, the exporter shall distribute the copies of AR-E1, original and duplicate copies sent to the place of export along with the goods. Then the triplicate and quadruplicate copy will be sent to whom? To the superintendent or the inspector of the central excise having jurisdiction over the factory or the warehouse within how many hours? 24 hours of the removal of the goods. Then the superintendent and inspector of the central excise shall verify the particulars of the assessment and correctness of the amount of the duty paid or duty payable. Its entry in the daily stock account maintained under Rule 10 of the central excise rules, and the particulars of the invoices issued under Rule 11 of the central excise rules. So leke perfectly they prepared AR-E1 or not, they are going to check. If he is satisfied with the particulars, then he will endorse the relevant AR-E1 and append his signature at the specified places in token of having done the verification. In case of any discrepancy, he will take up the matter with the SC for rectification and also inform the jurisdictional deputy assistant commissioner. Once verification is completed, AR-E1 is in order, then he shall distribute the documents in the following manner. Triplicate copy. It will be sent to the officer with whom the rebate claim is to be filed, either by the post or by handing over to the exporter in tamper-proof sealed cover after posting the particulars in the official records, or sent to the excise rebate audit section at the place of export in case of the rebate is to be claimed by the electronic declaration with the electronic data interchange system of customs. Quadruplicate copy will be returned to the exporter is a point. Then friends, examination of the goods at the place of export. That is, the place of export may be a port or an airport, inland container depot, then customs freight station or a land customs station. The exporter shall present the goods together with the original and duplicate and quadruplicate copies of the application AR-E1 to the Commissioner of Customs or the Commissioner of Customs or other duly appointed officer. The goods are examined by the customs official to establish their identity and quantity which are brought in the customs area for export. Then The customs officer shall examine the consignments with the particulars as stated in the application of AR-E1, and if he finds that the same are correct and the goods are exportable in accordance with the laws for the time being in force, he shall allow the export thereof, and thereafter he will certify the copies of the particulars of export. So I think the students are able to make the distinction. In case of the first situation, excise officials are verifying the goods and certifying the AR-E1. In the second situation, self-certification will happen, but at the place of export station from where the goods are going to get exported, the export officials will, verify the correctness of the goods which are going to get exported. So in first case, excise people will do. In the second case, we will make a self-declaration which will be again tested by the customs commissioner at the place from where the goods are getting moved. Then the officer of the customs shall return the original and quadruplicate copies of the application to the exporter and forward the duplicate copy of the application either by post or by handing over to the exporter in a tamper-proof sealed copy to the officer specified in the application from whom the exporter wants to claim the rebate. However, where the exporter claims the rebate by electronic declaration on electronic data interchange system of the customs, the duplicate shall be sent to the excise rebate audit section at the place of the export. So the exporter shall use the quadruplicate copy for claiming any other export incentive. Then friends, we move to the next aspect of it, sanction of rebate claim by the central excise officer. So sanction of rebate claim, how it will happen? Rebate claim can be sanctioned by any of the following officers of the central excise. He could be a deputy / assistant commissioner of central excise having a jurisdiction over the factory of the production of the export goods of the warehouse, or maritime commissioner. So it shall be essential for the exporter to indicate on the AR-E1 at the time of the removal of the export of the goods the office and its complete address with which they intended to file the rebate claim. The exporter shall present the original copy of the application to the concerned rebate sanctioning authority. The concerned authority shall compare the duplicate copy of application received from the officer of the customs with original copy from the exporter and triplicate copy received from the central excise officer. And after satisfying himself that goods under the claim for rebate were actually exported, the rebate sanctioning authority will sanction the rebate in part or in full, and in case of any reduction or rejection of the claim, an opportunity shall be provided to the exporter of being heard. So three things are getting compared. So you have to make note of how the three things are getting compared. First, the exporter shall present the original copy of the application. AR-E1 का original copy उन्हों present करते किन से? Concerned rebate sanctioning authority से. So concerned authority shall compare the duplicate copy of that particular application received from the officer of the customs with original copy from the exporter and triplicate copy received from the central excise officer. So triplicate copy will come from central excise officer, duplicate copy will come from the customs authority, and the first original copy will be brought by the whom? By the exporter. So original copy received from the exporter will be compared with the duplicate copy received from the customs authority with the triplicate copy received from the central excise officer. Then if all the three are getting matched, then the question of allowing rebate comes. In case if there is any difference, naturally opportunity of being heard should be given as a point. Claim of rebate by electronic declaration. An exporter may enter the requisite information in shipping bill filed at the specified place of export for claiming the rebate by electronic declaration on electronic data interchange system of customs after goods are exported. The rebate of excise duty shall, if the claim is found in order, be sanctioned and disbursed by the assistant / deputy commissioner of the customs. So through electronically also you may get the things done. Then cancellation of the documents. If the accessible goods are not exported, see you want to export but you have not made that particular export, then the assistant / deputy commissioner of central excise shall cancel the export documents as a point, friends. Then with regard to the export under the Central Excise Act 1944, write a short notes on who is authorized to sanction the rebate claim and what is the time limit for filing the rebate claim. These are the two things which we need to first understand. First thing is, the rebate of excise duty paid on exported goods is granted under Rule 18 of the Central Excise Rules 2002. The rebate claim can be filed with any of the following officers of the Central Excise. One is Deputy / Assistant Commissioner of Central Excise having jurisdiction over the factory or the production of export goods or warehouse. Second one is a Maritime Commissioner. And as per section 11B of the Act, the claim must be filed within 1 year from the date of birth or export. From the date of export is a point. Not from the date of birth, from the date of export. So friends, questions like this possibility is very much there, because all what you have studied so far is a procedure. Ultimately out of that, the crux that you have to take, because gone are those days. Now you don't find in CA final examination question paper big questions being asked. All are 2 marks questions and 3 marks questions. So notwithstanding that, we still love to read the procedures involved, because for few of the students this might be the last study of these procedures, because I know many of the chartered accountants are not in the practice of indirect taxes. But friends, try to understand. Somebody was saying the point, that is, at the bottom there is a lot of crowd, but at the top there is a lot of vacuum. See, if you are aiming only at the bottom level, there is a lot of crowd and lot of competition. So try to do something with innovation, because there the competition is less. So indirect taxes practice, project finance, these are the areas where money is there. So stand at a place where money is there so that you become wealthiest. Don't stand at a place where money is not there and don't start crying. So love to learn the procedures, and once you learn any procedure, it becomes an asset for you. So as a professionals, we should become experts. See, today general knowledge, general understanding will not help you out. Of course, there is no restriction that a chartered accountant should involve himself only in the internal audits or insurance specialization like a doctor, we don't have. But unless we become specialists, it's very difficult to survive in a competitive world like this. And according to me, at least 5 years will be the time post qualification for you to get the expertise in a particular field. Many a time a person will be a failure because he goes on changing his beliefs. So my advice to the future chartered accountants who are listening these lectures is, anything you do it with utmost confidence, conviction. First you feel comfortable, confident, and learn the art. Then that will help you to lead the remaining part of your life comfortably. Anything, whatever you do, that is okay as long as you are enjoying doing it. Somebody was asking, sir, these many hours, how do you stand and lecture? When we get up in a bus, standing for 2 hours, too much. Then how you will be able to stand? Because I am not thinking about the fact that I am standing. Get the point? When you start enjoying the work, naturally what will happen, friends? You will forget about the time. So while studying also, whether you are passing or failing, at the time of your preparation itself I can tell. See, if you are studying without noticing the clock, how many hours I studied and all, and that means that is the attempt when you are passing, because you are enjoying the studies and doing it. But once you are looking at these many hours I studied, that means you are able to get into the point that you are more concentrating on the time rather than on what you are doing. And I will also tell which employee of mine is going to come up in the life. See, several employees will be working and coming and working under us. But I can tell after observing for 10-15 days which boy will come up in his life. See, first you have to involve yourself into the process. So, दोस्तों, back to the point, with regard to the export under Central Excise Act, read note on who is authorized to sanction the rebate claim and the time limit for filing such rebate. Already we studied it. The two important things is, one is the Deputy Assistant Commissioner of Central Excise having a jurisdiction, or Maritime Commissioner, and within 1 year from the date of export. Then answer the following questions relating to the export of excisable goods under Rule 18 of the Central Excise Rules 2002 to contribute to the countries other than the Nepal or Bhutan. Here, of course, 6 issues are there. Should a bond be executed in such export? Support your answer with proper reason. First thing is, there is no need to execute a bond in such a case, as the goods are exported under a claim for rebate after full payment of the duty under an invoice. This bond concept comes in a situation where you don't want to pay the tax and all. So once you are paying the tax and going for the rebate, those don't necessarily, what is it, there is no requirement for your bond kind of thing. So should a bond be executed in such export? Support your answer, no. For the Rule 18 rebate and all, there is no requirement for a bond. And what is the form clearance of excisable goods in such exports? Already we have studied ARE1 is the form to make the claim for the rebates. Then how can the rebate duty on the exports be claimed? Is there any time limit for the same? Yes. A claim for the rebate duty paid along with the original copy of ARE1 shall be lodged with the Assistant Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner of Central Excise having jurisdiction over the factory of the manufacturer or warehouse, or as the case may be, Maritime Commissioner. As per section 11B of the Central Excise Act 1944, the claim must be filed within 1 year from the date of export. Then friends, is there any duty limit below which the rebate of the duty cannot be granted? If yes, then what is the limit? Is there many other restrictions on the, is there any other restrictions on the grant of rebate? For that, the rebate will not be granted if the amount of the rebate of duty is less than 500. Already we have studied that in case if the rebate is for a amount less than 500 rupees, then there is no question of giving the rebate. Further, the rebate will also not be granted if the market price of the excisable goods falls below the, what is it, the amount of the rebates. Then friends, fifth bit of it is, which duties of excise are eligible for rebate under Rule 18? Which duties of excise are eligible for the rebate? Basic excise duty, additional excise duty on textile and textile articles, NCCD and educational cess and secondary higher educational cess. Of course, all these things we have explained about what is the abbreviation of it in the earlier chapters. Then friends, is it necessary that in order to claim the rebate, excise duty should be paid in cash? No. Excise duty, as all you know, can be paid what? Through a debit to the PLA account or the SENBAT credit, or by cash. No, it is not necessary that the rebate can be obtained only if the duty is paid in cash. duty on final products can be paid either through cash or through PLA or through SunVat credit is a point, friends. Then we completed this particular question. See, now the questions are coming only in that way. That is, the big procedure what we have studied that could be tested in different bits, small bits in this particular way. So the whole lot of that study, just a novel reading you have to do, and these important points which are tested in these bits must be brought to your refer before exam notes. Then friends, what are the documents required for filing a claim for the rebate of central excise duty by an exporter of the excisable goods? Already these things also are the one which we have studied. Again, it's a case of revision. The following document shall be required for filing the claim of rebate of excise duty: a request on the letterhead of the exporter containing the rebate claim, date, number of the ARE1 and invoice and the amount of the rebate on each ARE1 and its calculations. And then friends, original copy of the ARE1. So covering letter be hona, covering letter will specify all those things. Then original copy of ARE1, invoice issued under rule 11 of the central excise, self-attested copy of shipping bill, self-attested copy of the bill of lading, disclaimer certificate in case where claimant is other than the exporter. Then friends, these are the things which you should remember, because if you want to do the audit also, at least in this area, you should know all this documentation is a point. Second thing, you are all going to be future finance controllers and finance executors and purchase and sales department heads. Then you should know with all these procedural protocols. Then discuss the rebate on export to any country other than Nepal and Bhutan of pan masala and gutka notified under section 3A of the Central Excise Act 1944 for levy of duty based on production capacity. See, central government has granted rebate of duty on pan masala and gutka on which the duty has been paid under section 3A on their export out of India on or after 1/7/2008. So we are encouraging the export of gutka and pan masala also, except to the countries of Nepal and Bhutan, to the extent of the lower of the following sum, least of the following two. To that extent you can get the rebate. What is it? Monthly average rate of the rebate per pouch. How you calculate monthly average rate of rebate per pouch? Total duty paid for the month for packing machines manufacturing pouches of the similar retail sale price divided by total pouches manufactured from the said machines in the month. Because in case of this gutka and pan masala kaisa rehta, machine say compound levy. So per month for this particular machine, this is the amount of the duty, that divided by number of pouches will give you the average monthly average rate of the rebate per pouch is a point. Then maximum amount of the rebate per pouch is equal to duty payable per machine per month divided by total number of pouches deemed to be produced per machine based on its capacity. So whichever is least, to that extent the rebate you can claim. So the procedure, conditions and limitations governing the rebate are same as those specified in the export of goods other than to the countries of the Nepal and Bhutan under the claim for rebate. The procedure which we have studied for making the claim, that and all will continue to be the same here, friends. Then what are the conditions and limitations subjected to which rebate of the duty on excisable materials used in the manufacture of the goods exported to any country other than Nepal and Bhutan is available? What are the conditions, friends? First, rebate of the whole of the duty paid on excise duty excisable material used in the manufacture or processing of the goods to be exported outside India to any country other than Nepal or Bhutan is allowed subjected to certain conditions and limitations. So this is something duty paid on what? This is duty paid on inputs. That is rebate of the whole of the duty paid on excisable materials used in manufacture or processing of the goods which are to be exported out of India is a point. So if on the input, if you want to get that particular rebate kind of thing, what are the benefits? Benefit of input stage rebate can be claimed on export of all finished goods, whether excisable or not. Any process not amounting the manufacture, such as packing, blending, etc., will also be eligible for the benefit of the rebate. Although packing and blending are not the processes which you call it as amounting to the manufacture, then it will also be eligible for the benefit of the rebate. Then only a manufacturer or a processor of the finished goods who exports the goods can claim the benefit of input stage rebate. Benefit of the input stage rebate shall not be extended where the exports are through merchant exporter. What is it? Only the manufacturer or the processor of the finished goods who exports the goods can claim the benefit of input stage rebate. Benefit of input stage rebate shall not be extended where the exports are through the merchant exporter. So only manufacturer who happens to be exporter can claim this particular input based rebates, input stage rebate. The expression material shall mean all raw materials, consumables, components, semi-finished goods, assemblies, sub-assemblies, intermediate goods, accessories, parts and packing material required for manufacture or processing of the export goods. Rebate of central excise duty paid on equipment and machinery being in the nature of capital goods used in relation to the manufacture or processing of the finished goods to be exported shall not be allowed. Underline that. That is rebate of central excise duty paid on capital goods in relation to the manufacture or processing of the finished goods to be exported shall not be, what is it, allowed. Only inputs are eligible for the whatever the duty that you paid, excise duty that you paid on inputs used for manufacturing of the outputs, that will be allowed. Then cases when input stage rebate not available, this is most important. Where it is not allowed, that is most important. Then that is the benefit of input stage rebate cannot be claimed in any of the following situations where the finished goods are exported under the claim for the duty drawback. That is, finished goods are exported with a claim for the duty drawback, there the question of a rebate does not come into play. Where the finished goods are exported in the discharge of export obligations under the value based advance license or quantity based advance license issued before 31/3/95. For these licenses before 31/3/95, there is a mandatory requirement that that particular person should necessarily make a particular quantities as exports. Then in order to discharge that obligation, if you are making an export and all, then this particular claim is not permitted. Where the facility of input stage credit is availed under the SENVAT credit rules. SENVAT credit के साथ input के ऊपर जो tax आप pay करें, उसके लिए SENVAT credit in case if you are taking, then again the rebate does not come into play. Because for the rebate to come into play, necessarily the duty should have been paid. On that duty what you have paid, if you are claiming the SENVAT credit, then the rebate will not come into picture. The market price of the goods is less than the rebate amount. The amount of the rebate admissible is less than 500. So these conditions are equally there when you are claiming the rebate on the finished goods also. Then friends, what is the procedure for claiming the rebate of duty on inputs used in the manufacture / processing of the export goods? What is the procedure? The procedure for claiming the rebate of the duty on the inputs used in the manufacture / processing of the export goods is, first is filing of declaration. What is it? The manufacturer or the processor shall file a declaration with the Deputy Assistant Commissioner of the Central Excise having jurisdiction over the factory of the manufacturer, describing the finished goods proposed to be manufactured or processed along with their rate of duty leviable and the manufacturing / processing formula with particular reference to the quantity, proportion in which the materials are actually used as well as the quality, and the declaration shall also contain tariff classification, rate of duty paid or payable on the material so used, both in words and figures, and in relation to the finished goods to be exported. Where there is more than one export product, separate statement of input output ratio may be furnished for each export product. The declarant should also enclose, in case of a new product or in case where manufacturer is not regularly manufacturing the export goods and clearing for home consumption or export, a write-up of manufacturing process should also be given. Then verification of the input-output ratio. Then the Deputy / Assistant Commissioner of Central Excise shall verify the correctness of the ratio of input and output mentioned in the declaration filed before the commencement of the export of such goods, if necessary by calling samples of the finished goods or by inspecting such goods in the factory of the manufacturer. If after such verification, if the Deputy / Assistant Commissioner of Central Excise is satisfied that there is no likelihood of evasion of the duty, he may grant the permission to the applicant for manufacture of processing and export of the finished goods. I think all of you might have well understood what is the purpose of asking for the input-output ratio. Other way around, I am making the production both for home consumption as well as for the export. Then in order to claim the rebate on inputs, I may say in the export goods more inputs less output, in the home consumption less input more output बोल के बता सकते, वो सोच के ये प्रोसीजर लगा दिए उन्होंने. Then procurement of material. The manufacturer or processor shall obtain materials to be utilized in manufacture of the finished goods intended for export directly from a registered factory in which such goods are produced, accompanied by an invoice under Rule 11 of Central Excise Rules 2002. The manufacturer or processor may also procure materials from the dealers registered for the purpose of the Senvat Credit Rules 2004 under the invoices issued by such a dealers from the designated factories and designated dealers. You have to purchase the goods which you are going to use for producing the goods which are going to be exported as a point feds. Then removal of the material or partially processed material for processing. So your intermediate goods may be removed for making further processing. The Deputy / Assistant Commissioner of Central Excise may permit a manufacturer to remove materials as such or after the said materials have been partially processed during the course of the manufacture or processing of the finished goods to a place outside the factory for the purpose of test, repairs, refining, reconditioning or carrying out any other operation necessary for manufacture of the finished goods and return the same to his factory without payment of the duty for further use in manufacture of the finished goods, or remove the same without payment of the duty in bond for export, provided that the waste, if any, arising in the course of such operation is also returned to the said factory of the manufacturer or the processor. So these inputs as such or after making some process can be sent out to be made as a finished goods, and again those goods must come back. Then further limited purpose, the goods may be removed from the factory without paying the tax by giving a bond and all, it can be done. Even if some waste gets generated in making the production of the finished goods, even that waste also should come back to the factory is the point. For the purpose of the manufacture of the intermediate products necessary for manufacture or processing of the finished goods and return the said intermediate products to his factory for further use in the manufacture or process of the finished goods without payment of the duty, or remove the same without payment of the duty for export, provided that the waste, if any, arising in the course of the operation is also returned to the factory of the manufacturer or the processor. In the previous para, what you have studied is for the preparation of the finished goods you are sending it. Here you are sending the material for making the intermediate product and bringing it back, and here doing something so that it will become a finished goods and all. Then further, any waste arising from processing of materials may be removed on payment of the duty as if such waste is manufactured or processed in the factory of the manufacturer or the processor. What is the procedure for export? Here the goods shall be exported on application in form ARE2. Then, and procedure for export without payment of the duty or with payment of the duty under the claim of rebate, as the case may be, is to be followed as a point. And presentation of the claim for the rebate. The claim for the rebate of the duty paid on materials used in the manufacture or processing of the goods shall be lodged only with the Deputy / Assistant Commissioner having jurisdiction over the place of the approved manufacturer or processing of such a export goods. So what are the conditions to be followed? What are the documents to be presented with the claim? Original copy of ARE2. So ARE1 is for what? ARE1 is for the finished goods and claiming the rebate of duty paid on the finished goods, whereas ARE2 is for claiming the rebate for duty paid on the inputs. Duty of duly self-attested copy of a shipping bill, export promotion copy, duly self-attested copy of the bill of lading airway bill, duplicate copy of central excise invoice under which central excise duty was paid accounted as payable on the goods cleared for export, where rebate of finished goods are also being claimed. And then the duplicate copy of ARE2 received from the customs officer in a sealed cover if obtained. And communication of deficiency in claim, in case that is if there is any shortfalls, some more documentation has to happen, or documentation is incomplete and all those things, the Deputy Commissioner or Assistant Commissioner of Central Excise shall point out that if any delay of lodging of the claim and ask the exporter to rectify the same within 15 days. And then friends, accounts and returns, the manufacturer shall maintain a register of duty paid materials brought to the factory for manufacture of the finished goods for export under a claim for input stage rebate, and account for finished goods manufactured and exported. And an officer duly empowered by the Assistant Deputy Commissioner of Central Excise in this behalf shall have access at all reasonable times to any premises indicated in the application. And the applicant shall also permit the officer of Central Excise to any records relating to the production, storage and export of the goods. So with that we have studied what friends? Export of goods and claiming the rebate in case those exports are to the countries other than Nepal and Bhutan. Now our study should now continue with what? Export without payment of the duty to a place other than Nepal or Bhutan. So far what we have studied? We have exported and we have paid the duty, then we have claimed the rebate. Ab kya ho raha? You are making the export and you don't want to make the payment of the duty is the point. Of course, there and here commonness is other than to the Nepal or Bhutan only. In the first case, you pay the duty and claim the rebate. Here, my duty खुद ही नहीं pay करते, तो क्या करते? Bond देते. क्या देते? Bond देके export कैसा भी करते, बोल के confident है हमारा, तो बिना ड्यूटी पे करके एक्सपोर्ट करना. तो क्या क्या प्रोसीजर्स होता वो सब यहां पे पढ़ना होगा. Then friends, the point here is explain briefly the provisions of Rule 19. Rule 18 we completed, now we are coming to the Rule 19 of the Central Excise Rules 2002 regarding the export without payment of the duty to a place other than Nepal or Bhutan. So the post that is waiting for you after you qualify is Manager Excise. A chartered accountant can become a Manager Excise, later on Director Excise. Then friends, Rule 19 of the Central Excise Rules 2002 provides what? That is, any excisable goods may be exported without payment of the duty from a factory of the producer or manufacturer or warehouse or any other premises as may be approved by the Commissioner. Any material may be removed without payment of the duty from a factory of the producer or manufacturer or a warehouse or any other premises for the use in the manufacture or processing of the goods which are exported as may be approved by the Commissioner. And such export shall be subjected to such conditions, safeguards and procedures as may be notified by the board. The board has specified that export shall be subjected to the following conditions and limitations. Yes, any facility in the law comes with इतना बड़ा क्या है? Procedures, terms and conditions, right? Conditions apply बोल के रहते ना, वैसा यहीं भी बहुत सारी conditions है. तो first, the exporter shall furnish a bond in form B1 to the Assistant Deputy Commissioner of Central Excise having jurisdiction over the factory warehouse or such approved premises as the case may be, or Maritime Commissioner or any other officer as authorized by the board. तो ये point में क्या मालूम हुआ आपको? एक bond तो देना ही देना. Then in case the export is from a place other than the registered factory or warehouse, the goods should be in the original packed condition and identifiable as to their origin as a point.